Wanadhani ya bongo lala.
Tumejamu sijifanye uja notice.
Wanadhani ya bongo lala.
Tumejamu sijifanye uja notice.
Wambie punde imechoka sana.
Tumejamu sijifanye uja notice.
Wambie punde imechoka sana.
Tumejamu sijifanye uja notice.
Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready.
Ndio nimetoka saa hii watch ile documentary ya BBC ile ya maandamano ya June last year. The Bloody Parliament. Mimi nakwambia hii kitu ni so heartbreaking, so painful hata kuangalia tu hizo clips. Painful kabisa. Kuona youth, watoto wadogo wakimalizwa na risasi. Painful hata kuwatch. Na wale watu wanawamaliza ni wale watu wanafaa kuwachunga. Na au mayuthi wale watoto wanamalizwa. Hakuna mtu amebeba silaha. Those people are unarmed. Hakuna kitu wamebeba. Hawana bunduki, ni bendera wamebeba. Kama nchi hatutasahau siku kama hiyo. Ni siku, yani kitu mbaya sana kufikiria kitu. Na ndio maana nowadays wa Kenya hata wiko proud to be Kenyans. Sasa hata ukiangalia mahali popote, wa Kenya wimbi national anthem, lakini ukileta ile anthem ya East Africa wanaimba. Kenyans are not proud to be Kenyans kwa sababu ya zile vitu zinafanyika hapa Kenya. Na sisi tunasema hizo damu ambazo mlimwaga, hizo damu mlimwaga innocent, mahali ziko zipiganie haki, mahali ziko zipigane na wale watu ambao waliwaua hivyo. Yes.
Today I woke up to work out, but instead I got a notification from BBC that they have already posted the video. It is a beautiful morning. Amkeni wamesha, washatu, amkeni by 1. Nataka hiyo video ikuwe na 1 million views plus. Amkeni.
We ni kubaya. Nimetoka kuachia documentary ya BBC. Hii gava inajitetea ikiwa upande gani? I want to know. Hii gava inajitetea ikiwa upande gani? Ushesikia nyimbo ya hatuitishi ruhusa kugusa? Hivyo ndio BBC wamefanya. Makosha.
Mambo imechemuka. Now, kama unataka kujua ni kina nani walikuwa behind the Genz killings during Genz protest, right now BBC imeachilia the full documentary. So, enda hapa juu andika Blood Parliament by BBC Africa. Then you'll thank me. Utaona the full video from BBC Africa. Guys, things are boiling nicely. Just go and search, then come and tell me what you have seen, okay? Hey, we don't have a country. You don't have a country.
Oh, guys. Oh, the BBC Africa documentary just reopened wounds. It's so bad. And let me tell you guys, whatever happened last year was so bad. I have never watched news since then. Like, I was a person who watched news every single day. I bought a TV when I was in campus just to watch news and like know what's going on in the country and stuff. But kwanzia 25th of July, whatever they did to us, whatever they did to our brothers and sisters, disoriented me. And I swore that I detached from this country. Like I said, the only time I'm going to rise up is when we're fighting against whatever this is. And like, it just reopened wounds. It's just absurd. Yani ukiona hiyo unasikia kuamka turudi but it's bad.
Hey guys, watu wenye wamewatch your clip, your documentary ya BBC about the Genz, manze, this is beyond even Sarafina. It was a movie, it was a series actually, because unaona they were identifying mpaka shooters wenye walikuwa snipers, wenye walikuwa pale juu rooftop, wanaita mpaka majina and the specific person wali shoot. Even the police want identify the police leader who was directing people to shoot and kill. Afu niambie DCI hawajui, hata wajashika polisi hata mmoja who have done that. I think even BBC have done best documentary, na round hii hatusahau. This is what we say, hatusahau, hatuforget. Hii ni hashtag hatuforget na hatuta forget. And let me tell you, it is in our mind. Hey, man, this was horrible. What?
Yeah, so BBC has finally released that documentary showing who killed the Genzis during the last year, June 25th protest. And I'm happy to have been some of the voices that were telling the stories. So kudos to BBC, and Maz, it's so sad to find out that the Kenyan army, those who were put in charge of protecting Kenyans, were involved in killing protesters, peaceful demonstrators. Maz, that's so sad. And now the world is finally seeing what happened, and we are getting to know the real side of the real story. Maze, thank you, and everyone that was in that video for telling us what happened. So Hanifa and Boniface Mwangi, Maze, I'm really grateful. And Maze, we need to watch on what we are doing as a country, man.
Yani wasi walikuwa wanafuatwa from na nyuma, like police na KDF walikuwa wanatufuata huko nyuma, aiming the guns kwa watu innocent. Hiyo documentary ukiona utajam. Hadi unajiuliza hii ndio nchi yenye like yo, kwani watu wa yangu walifanya nini ku deserve all of this? Na hii ni nchi gani tumekuja kukua? Anyway, ya dunia ni hapa tu.
Now, today it has taken me a little bit of time. I first had to go and watch the BBC documentary, and that's why it has taken me a little bit of time. It's quite an emotional documentary about the events that took place from June 18th, I think, to June 25th. And this is what we have been doing for, I think, now for me, for I think the past 3 months. Trying to sensitize the public from the events that took place in 2024, now coming into, of course, 2025, trying to educate people, trying to do some civic education, trying to tell the people that we need new leadership, we need a renaissance in our country. The documentary that has been done by the BBC is very clear and is a clear indication of how our country is. We do not have, let me just say the truth, we do not have a country. Because the deployment, I first want to get into the details. The deployment of KDF was done after the events that took place on June 25th. But by the documentary, you clearly see the person who shot Eric Shieni was a member of the KDF. Get this right. The evidence from the video, I do not want to spoil the video. You see clearly that there's a band here of the Kenyan flag from the person who shot Eric Shieni, and there's a clear video evidence. The events that took place on June 25th were unnecessary because, yes, there was an insurrection of parliament. It was unlawful. But as you can see from the video, okay, I don't want to spoil. Go watch the video. But before I watched the video, I remember right immediately after the protest that took place on January 25th, I went and watched Terror at the Mall. If you have watched it, you can tell what I'm talking about. I watched Terror at the Mall, which was a documentary done by HBO. And in that documentary, you clearly see the KDF are protecting the people from the militant group Al-Shabaab. Of course, it was messy, and at the end of the day, we came out heroic, where the KDF came in, and I think the special forces came in, and they saved the day. More deaths could have taken place that day, but we still are sad that we lost 71 souls. That was in 2013. The same KDF are the same people who shot people in the protest. The same policemen who came to save people in Dusit January 2019 are the same people who are shooting people in protests. We have seen protests in France. We have seen an insurrection of the Capitol in the United States. which was way worse than what happened in our parliament. How many people were killed by the police on that fateful day on the Capitol? Can somebody answer me? I don't think there was any shooting. People insurrected and they left. They went on their way. We built this nation. It's not William Ruto's administration. That's what makes me angry. Because that parliament that you see there was not even built by our own government. That parliament was built by the white man. We came together and said we are fighting the white man. At the end of the day, we pushed the white man away and we came in together as a united front and joined forces and formed a nation. We have one anthem. We are one people, despite the fact that we have, of course, different tribes, of course, 42 plus tribes. Why did the police shoot people? It was unnecessary. Look at the power dynamics. The people who are demonstrating did not have guns. The people who are demonstrating did not show that they were going against the police. The members of parliament were already evacuated through, of course, the basement. Of course, the protesters didn't even know this information until, of course, the news coverage was done. But why did the police shoot people? Why were they abducting people? And what is not said about the whole BBC interview is that there were snipers on the buildings. I was there myself. I was there in the protest. I know. Of course, I did not get into parliament, but I was there. I know there were snipers. That is what is not being said. Maybe they didn't shoot anybody. Maybe they injured some. But what we are getting from the interview or from the documentary is clear evidence of what happened on that fateful day. And of course, our politicians had no comments on whatever happened that day, right? They are very emotional. They can't speak about it. They will cry tears until they are dehydrated. That's why they never had anything to comment about whatever happened on June 25th. I'm here to tell you that our members of parliament, these politicians, and our president effectively, our enemies. That's the truth of the matter. Because the president said the people have spoken after people had died on parliament buildings. The people have spoken. It took death for the president to recognize that we have spoken. While we were saying these things before the fateful day on the 25th, he had nothing to say about it. He was chill. He was sitting in his lawn, maybe in Narok County, where he built himself a huge bungalow, or maybe here in State House. He had nothing to say about it when we were having public discussions about the finance bill. He came in later, after, of course, the damage had already been done. That's our country. And this is now a personal vendetta against the government. I don't care how many stadiums they build. Let me just be clear. Many people say, oh, you have to be logical. You have to face this thing logically. If the president is doing the correct work, then of course you have to do mathematical calculations and calculate human life compared to development. No. I'm not going to do that. Nah. I'm going to be honest with myself and say, we are going to use the killings that happened as a measure of the development that is taking place at the moment. Maybe it will take a million years. Maybe it will take 100 years to equate the two. I don't know. But until the two equate, human life and development, then I'll join the government. But as long as I view human life more important than development. Let me just say this. I think the video will go for longer today. I envy our neighbors who live more peacefully than us. But at the same time, they are poor. They are poorer than us. Let's just be honest. But they're more peaceful, Yes, they're not fighting their governments. Museveni has ruled for 35 years. I don't know, since 1986. They're not fighting. They're not in the business of fighting their leaders. And that's okay. That's their own prerogative. But they're peaceful. They're poor, but they're peaceful. They have their families. They're maybe using the 3 stones maybe to light fires. I don't know. But at the same time, we here call ourselves the mid-developed countries. But our people are being killed. Our government is gaslighting us on how it is doing well for our economy, while pretending to have forgotten what happened. We cannot air our opinions, because when we air our opinions, then it's an all-out war. It's like we're living in a beautiful prison, right? It's a well-gated prison with everything, all the amenities, but you can't cross this boundary, you can't cross this. But there's a constitution here that says you can cross all these boundaries. But if you do, right now, try and go to the streets, try and demonstrate. You see what happens to you. You go and try. Peacefully, try. What the BBC didn't air is that the demonstrations at first were very peaceful. Everybody had their flags. I was there from the beginning, I know. I also have the photos and the videos. Everybody had their flags. It was a very patriotic activity. But at the end of the day, the police triggered violence. That's what happened. They started using tear gas. They used a lot of force. That's why the protest became violent at the end of the day. People started looting. And then, of course, they used the reverse psychology and said, oh, at the end of the day, the protests that were seen as peaceful culminated into this violent protest for no reason, right? Nobody triggered it. There was no incitement from the police officers. And there were no orders from the executive to do exactly that, right? You think we are stupid.
Na vitu zina happen in country ikifika 2027 na uko 18 plus tukupate bila kura. Ai! Utatuambia unaishi wapi? Utatuambia unataka nani apeleke Ruto nyumbani?
Huyu Ruto mumwambie tumechoka naye. Kama inatakana tubadilishe katiba ni kupunguza miaka ya Ruto, sio kuongeza atifike 7. We cannot wait to get an opportunity kutuma huyu mtu nyumbani kwa sababu kazi imemshinda. Ruto tunataka kwanza kupunguza term yake. Kama ingewezekana hii mwaka ingeisha kama huyu mtu amekaa kwa kiti. Aende nyumbani, kazi imemshinda.
You like me, why them a fight me? You like me, chewing a bone, a bite it. We don't trust them, even if we bust them. We don't trust them, stay far, not touch them. We don't trust them, hope your man a suck them. Informer, me say you must them.